I wanted to talk about water being an issue. So what do you say about that?
The next world war is going to be fought because of water. And as an engineer, I was just thinking, people are going to fight for water?
Heating and cooling are also one of the most biggest energy drainers. So how have you reimagined temperature control to be more sustainable?
70% of the energy of the building is used for cooling the building. Okay? What we call this here in UAE is HVAC. And what HVAC stands for is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Now we said, why can't we use that to cool the buildings? And we found that very effective because when you use...
What has brought nature back into urban inbuilt spaces when you talk about nature and gardening?
We create something called the heat island effect.
Right.
What is the heat island effect is, when you cool this space, you throw the heat from inside outside, and you also throw the humidity outside. And when you throw the heat and humidity outside,
Hello and welcome to the Green Generation podcast. I am Shruti Sitaraman, an entrepreneur and a content creator. And in today's episode, we're speaking to someone who's not just dreaming of a sustainable life, he's building it. From transforming concrete into conscious construction to managing water, waste, and wellness through real innovation, today's guest is a true economic trailblazer. Mr. Samiullah Khan, Chief Sustainability Officer of Fakhruddin Properties, who's also just very recently been awarded the Sustainability Champion of the Year by the Facility Management Awards. So welcome to the podcast.
thank you.
Let's dive into what it really means to live sustainability as a way of life and how doing the right thing can still be a star performing strategy. So you've been called a star performer in sustainability leadership, but what's the one moment that truly defined you as a Chief Sustainability Officer?
First, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come here and be part of this wonderful initiative.
Thank you.
And I consider it an honor and a privilege to be associated with this podcast and with Dr. Sitaraman.
No, we're honored to have you.
Yeah. What I'd like to tell is that as an Indian and as a person who was brought up in South India, we always used to live a sustainable life. So it was never a transformation. It was never a change. It's only the branding. Now people call it sustainability.
Right.
For us, it was the way of life. So whatever my grandparents used to do and what your grandparents used to do in India was possibly more sustainable than what we are doing today.
Absolutely.
Today what we are doing is, we are calling it sustainability. We are branding it sustainability. At that point of time, that was the way of life. So what I'd like to tell you is that we have always been sustainable. And if we go back to our roots, we will continue to be sustainable.
Right. Okay, so if you had to sum up your sustainability philosophy in one sentence, I feel like you just did by saying sustainability is the way of life, but is there any other sentence that you'd want to sum it up as?
So, I'm not an expert in rhetoric and articulating my views. So I will depend on what the United Nations has done. The United Nations has defined 17 sustainable goals.
Yeah.
So let's stick to that.
Yeah.
But what I believe is that we should start practicing. That is more important. So today what is happening is, people are doing seminars, conferences, events on sustainability.
Correct.
But they're not practicing sustainability.
Absolutely.
So always practicing is something which is very important, and let us focusing on practicing something small.
Of course.
And like what they say, Kaizen. You improve slowly every day continuously.
Yeah.
And you automatically become sustainable. And one very important aspect of sustainability, which I always say, are the three pillars of sustainability. It has to be good for the people, it has to be good for the planet, and it also should be profitable.
Of course.
If it is not, then it is not economically or commercially sustainable.
Correct.
And there are so many low-hanging fruits which are there, which you can actually practice in your everyday life and be sustainable, that it is really amazing.
And I think that's precisely why we started this Green Generation podcast, right? Like, it was all of the curiosity for me to understand sustainability, for me to understand how I can make change in my everyday life. And like you said, it's not just about knowing awareness. Of course, I hope this podcast creates awareness and education, but also helps you understand the interconnectedness of those 17 sustainable development goals, how practicing one of them affects all the other 16, and why, like we said, we've spoken before in the podcast about, say, even climate change. There's nothing as someday is now. And we have to make those changes. And there's so many ways that we can make these changes in an everyday life. And I'm going to dive into how much he's made that change with all of the construction and all of what he does. But before that, I wanted to talk about water being an issue. So what do you say about that?
Okay, it's
or
very...
how have you factored that into...
It's very interesting that you spoke about water, because when I was young, I was told that the next world war is going to be fought because of water. And as an engineer, I was just thinking, people are going to fight for water? Earlier, people used to compete against resources. Oil used to be one of the main motivating factors. So when they said that it's going to be on water, I said, what can I do as an engineer to solve this challenge? We are in UAE, and we are blessed because the leadership of UAE has a wonderful vision. And I said, how can we convert this challenge into an opportunity? So water, as per WHO, 70% of the people on earth today do not have water or are drinking contaminated water. And the amount of fresh water available in our lakes and ground is about 3% of the total water available. This is the challenge.
Right.
What is the opportunity? We are blessed in Dubai and most parts of the world of having humidity.
Right.
Humidity is nothing but water in the air. So this is renewable water. So we worked on this challenge about 8 years before with a team of people from US, from MIT, who's a professor in University of Arizona here. And we created 5,000 liters of water, drinking water, high quality water in the deserts of Dubai using solar power. And for this, we won the Diva Sukia Global Water Awards.
Congratulations.
And now we are commercializing it, and we are bottling that, and we are selling it. So here what you see is the 3 P's. One is that it's good for the people because you're giving very high quality water. It's good for the planet because you're not using the water from underground, but you're using renewable water. Third, it's very profitable. Business is profitable. And I want to see also and explain to you the flip side. What's happening in Dubai today? 99% of the water which we are drinking comes from desalination.
Right.
So what do you do in desalination? You take the water from the sea, but you're not only taking the water. You're taking the small planktons, the small fish into your system, and you're destroying that. Which is the food for the bigger fish? Which is the food for the bigger fish? Which is our food?
Right.
Now you're obstructing the ecosystem. Second, you take the brine, which is concentrated salt water, after you remove the clean water, and you put the brine back into the ocean. So you're increasing the salinity of the sea. You're killing the marine life. You're killing the corals. And then what you do is even worse. You take that water and you put it in plastic bottles.
Yeah.
And when you put it in plastic bottles, then microplastics get into that water. And when you drink that water in plastic bottle, then you're consuming microplastics. And as per WWF, when you drink water from plastic bottles, you're consuming 1 credit card worth of microplastic every week and a laptop every year. Now, if that is the amount of microplastic which is going into your body, then your body has to work so much more to get rid of that microplastic. And when it does a terrific job, but still, today they are finding microplastics in various important organs of our body, in the umbilical cord, in newborn babies, in the brain. So this is causing a huge impact. Whereas the easy solution, which is there in nature, is there is more water in humidity in the air than all the lakes and rivers in the world put together. So why don't we convert humidity into drinking water, live sustainability, and live healthy?
No, absolutely. And I think this brings me back quite literally to a quote that my dad always quotes from Shiv Khera, saying, winners don't do different things, they do things differently. So this is all about the mindset, about using resources that we have available to us, but just putting them into more use that's better for us and better for the environment, right? And this is exactly why I think you also did mention earlier the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, to understand how one can affect the other and how it in turn affects us. So it's not about just making change for the planet because it's better for the planet and better for the future generation, but it's also affecting the quality of life that we have today.
And we are stopping the next world war.
Right, and we stop that as well. So there's every reason for you to want to be sustainable and live a sustainable life. But moving on, I think heating and cooling are also one of the most biggest energy drainers. So how have you reimagined temperature control to be more sustainable?
So we are here in UAE. We consume a lot of energy in cooling our space. To be a little more precise, 70% of the energy of the building is used for cooling the building. Okay? And what we call this here in UAE is HVAC. And what HVAC stands for is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Now, as an engineer, I asked, why is it called heating, ventilation, and air conditioning? Here, it should be cooling, ventilation, and air conditioning. And I was told that, you know what, it started off in Europe, where the major challenge was not cooling, but heating. So they started HVAC in Europe, and then when they adopted it in the Middle East, they kept it as HVAC and used the same design principles here. And that is where the opportunity and the challenge is. To cool a building using the principles of HVAC is far more energy consuming than to use new principles of cooling. So heat transfer can happen by convection, conduction, radiation. One of the good ways of cooling is by radiation. And just to tell your enlightened audience, the nature is possibly the best example. The sun heats the earth with radiation. And if you see, even in Europe, homes are heated by radiation. Now we said, why can't we use that to cool the buildings? And we found that very effective, because when you use radiant cooling, you condense the humidity, you're generating water, and that water can also be recycled and reused. Today, I can safely say that if we go and re-engineer the buildings which are present here in UAE, we can save 30 to 40% of the energy which they are consuming. Now, UAE's vision is to go net zero by 2050.
Okay.
And 70% of the buildings which are going to be in 2050 are already built. So it's very important that we retrofit the existing buildings with more energy efficient systems, reduce the power consumption, and the opportunity is phenomenal in this. Again, coming to the 3 Ps, it's going to be good for the planet because it's going to reduce our carbon footprint. It's going to be good for the people because when we do the retrofitment in the building, it's going to improve the air quality and the cooling and the efficiency.
Right.
And the third most important aspect is the financial aspect. It's going to save us money.
Right.
And today, there are companies which would come and do this for you without any capex because they've seen an opportunity into this. To sum up the entire thing, there is a huge opportunity in energy saving in existing buildings by improving the HVAC system and might be converting it into CVAC system. This is a new term which I'm just coming up
That
here
you already
in this
coined,
podcast.
it's wonderful. You've coined something new, and I'm sure you're going to work towards it and make it happen. But as you're talking about nature, what has brought nature back into urban inbuilt spaces when you talk about nature and gardening?
Wonderful. It's really amazing. We are in a place where we are surrounded by concrete. And when we are surrounded by concrete, we create something called the heat island effect.
Yeah.
What is the heat island effect is, when you cool this space, you throw the heat from inside outside, and you also throw the humidity outside. And when you throw the heat and humidity outside, that entire area, the temperature increases and the humidity increases. To the extent that humidity becomes a bigger challenge than temperature. And I'll give you a reason why. So the wet bulb temperature is the temperature in which the water in your skin, it will evaporate and produce cooling of your skin.
Okay.
Now when this hits above 35, then the temperature is 35 degrees, the humidity is very high, you sweat and your sweat does not evaporate. And if your sweat does not evaporate, it does not produce cooling of your body. So you have a stroke at 35 degrees. And we have been throwing a lot of humidity and a lot of heat outside.
Right.
Now, what is the solution? So we always look at solutions in this podcast.
Right.
So the solution is create greenery around the concrete. Now you can have a green wall. You can have greenery on the roof.
Yeah.
You can have greenery in the building. You can have small parks. So in the real estate development which Fakhruddin is doing, we have decided that we are going to cover as much as possible with greenery. Okay. And now this not only improves the temperature outside, but it also acts as an insulation for the temperature inside, and it reduces my cooling load and it saves me money.
And they're all interconnected.
And it also improves the air quality.
Wonderful. You see, this is exactly what we mean by the sustainability development goals, why one is important for the other and why it's a chain reaction. Very wonderfully said and done in practice. But how do you see green spaces contributing to not just the environment, but human health, but also mental health, for example?
That's a wonderful question. Naturally, people like green spaces. You feel better.
Right.
And if you see, Buddha, he got his enlightenment under a tree. Okay? And nature and the vibrations which come from nature, it has a soothing effect on the person, his mind. Creating more greenery is possibly the best thing which we can do. But I'll tell you as an engineer, how we have engineered green space. Now, we wanted to have a lot of greenery in our buildings, but the challenge was, how do we irrigate that? We need a lot of water. Okay? And the plants, the natural plants which grow here, they are grown in such a way that these roots can go and find water anywhere. Now, if I put that in a building, then what happens is, the roots will try to find where the water is, and it might end up in your swimming pool, in your water tanks, and even to the extent it has come into the toilets of homes. So we can't use those kind of trees. So we collaborated with the education institutions, with the agricultural institutions, and we said that how can we bring in engineered plants, not genetically modified, but engineered plants which can grow in this environment. So one such plant which we worked on was bamboo.
Right.
So we took bamboo because bamboo is a grass. Its roots grow only a couple of feet. It grows very fast and it absorbs a lot of carbon dioxide.
Right.
So we brought a very interesting strand of bamboo, did tissue culture, expanded the number, and brought it and planted it in UAE in Silicon Oasis about 3 years before. And the result which we have got is phenomenal. The plant or bamboo grows 1 feet a month.
Right.
So in 6 months, it's taller than us.
Of course.
It absorbs a lot of carbon dioxide, it provides the greenery, and it gives a very nice zen effect in a bamboo garden.
Yep.
So we are creating bamboo gardens all over Dubai, even at the podium in the buildings, reducing the water consumption because it only needs about 5 liters of water. And the beauty of bamboo is it also absorbs the water from the humidity. So what we have actually done is we have listed down all the parameters which are there in Dubai or in the Middle East. Then we've matched it, which is the best probable species of plant which would thrive under this environmental conditions,
Right.
brought it here, and then we are cultivating it and we are growing it. And the beauty of doing this is when the bamboo grows in large scale, for the first couple of years, you get carbon credits. So it is subsidized by the world, and you can harvest the bamboo, convert the harvested bamboo into construction material, and bamboo has such high tensile strength that you can actually build a 16-story building based on bamboo. And you can convert it into biofuel, you can convert it into biochar, you can convert it into ethanol and have natural fuel. So this is the kind of contribution which we can have into the whole process.
And they also say there's like good luck bamboos, right?
Yeah.
They say having bamboos is also good luck, so it works. But I think now that you've spoken a little bit about the recycle, reduce, reuse, those are the 3 R's, right? Much like the 3 P's. I feel like this is a term that most people have heard, but very few people actually live it. So as much as we know how you, make sure that those are the 3 R's that are part of all of your real estate structures, how would you say that you incorporate the 3 R's in your personal every day-to-day life?
Okay. First, what I'd like to say is that luck is what people say
Yeah.